Well, good evening, Southeast Texas. Pretty nice day across the area today. We had temperatures in the 70s for highs. It'll be closer to 80 for a high tomorrow on our Roofing 911 Skycam network here in Beaumont, sponsored by Packard and LaPrade. So as each day and night goes on, temperatures will continue to slowly warm. A slow warming trend for those highs and lows coming up over the course of the next week or so. Could be a little bit of patchy ground fog later tonight in the morning too. Would not surprise me with the fairly light winds and some breaks in the clouds. A little bit of patchy fog will be possible. And of course, across the rest of the area, we had temperatures this afternoon pretty close to the same between the lakes and the triangle. We had temperatures in the 70s up in the lakes as well. Our Roofing 911 Skycam network outside our 12 studios, sponsored by Mid-County Plumbing. Traffic flowing fairly smoothly tonight under partly cloudy skies. Plenty of breaks in those clouds. We'll go clear to partly cloudy tonight across Southeast Texas and southwestern Louisiana, but certainly wasn't a bad day at all. And of course, overnight tonight, temperatures will drop into the 50s for lows. So still kind of cool, not cold, but just kind of maybe a light jacket early in the morning, but nothing too bad. Upper 50s for lows, some mid 50s up in the lakes. Then we'll warm to, as I said, pretty close to 80 coming up for tomorrow. Now your weather headlines, some patchy fog is possible later tonight, otherwise above normal temperatures for highs and lows will continue the next several days and nights ahead. And looks like the drought, of course, is going to continue. We do have a slight chance of showers back in the forecast next Tuesday, maybe Wednesday as well, but we're talking only a 10 to 20% coverage even then. So those rain chances still pretty slim across Southeast Texas and southwestern Louisiana. Lots of clear skies across the region, a little bit of low clouds here and there. It's kind of hard to see a regional satellite here. And don't forget, you can text us at 409-749-9302. If you have any weather questions, we'll be glad to answer those and get back with you. But a little bit of patchy fog will be possible again later on tonight. Now, currently the burn ban's in effect, of course, out to the west in the Houston area, westward out towards Sealy, Katy, all of Harris counties under a burn ban. Here locally in our viewing area, we have Jasper and Newton counties in that burn ban. Orange, Jefferson, Hardin, and Tyler not in that. That's going to change. That's going to change any day now. Do expect one or two more counties to probably issue burn bans. If not tomorrow, certainly coming up by Friday into the weekend. Some of the parishes in southwestern Louisiana, probably the same thing. Look for those to be issued as well, because certainly we're not going to see any rainfall anytime soon. Humidity levels will start going up a little bit. That kind of helps a little bit, but still the ground, the trees, the leaves, just very, very dry across Southeast Texas, all of that. And we just don't see any relief really anytime soon. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Temperatures across the region now, a 10-degree temperature difference between Lake Charles and Houston. Of course, Lake Charles closer to the colder waters of the Gulf. Now water temperatures have cooled off quite a bit. Houston 74, Lake Charles 64, at 68 Lufkin, and as mild to warm across south central, southwest Texas. 80 at Laredo, 74 San Antonio. Now, these areas were well into the 80s this afternoon, and we will see more of that coming up tomorrow. Some 60s up in the Texas Panhandle into Oklahoma. Cold air off to our northeast. It's moving away as that latest storm system moves on out to the northeast as well. And 77 degrees in Brownsville. So it's a mild to warm evening across the deep south tonight. Now across North Texas and Oklahoma, there is a weak stationary front, and it is weak, extending from well north of Little Rock back down to just north of Dallas to West Texas. This certainly is not heading our way, and even if it was, we just don't have the moisture to generate any showers anyway. Notice we have some high clouds across portions of New Mexico, Arizona. Big ridge of high pressures building to our west and southwest. That'll build in beginning tomorrow, so that'll certainly shut down any chance for any rain at all coming up over the next several days. It says high pressure at the surface has moved on out to the east. We now have south winds now off the Gulf. Now here's a look at temperatures now compared to 24 hours ago. We're running about 9-10 degrees warmer right now than we were this time last night. So that means it'll certainly be a warmer night tonight than what we had this morning. We had some low to mid 50s this morning. Tonight we'll be in the upper 50s. Notice off to our east, a lot warmer than it was this time last night. Lake Charles, 11 degrees warmer than 24 hours ago. Jennings and Lafayette, some 13 to 14 degrees warmer than 24 hours ago. It's pretty impressive there. You know, we talked about for days and days and days going back to last week when we had the latest cold front that it wasn't going to stick around long, and it didn't. We're talking a day and a half, and it was out of here. And looks pretty mild coming up, of course, the next several nights, and pretty warm coming up over the next several days, some 7 to 8 degrees warmer out in the Houston area. Forecast temperatures when you wake up tomorrow morning, mid to upper 50s across the area. Patchy fog here and there, some patchy ground fog. Not out of the question with a fairly light winds. Not a lot of fog expected. We need to get those dew points up a little bit higher to see more fog. But still, there'll be some patches of fog out there later tonight and tomorrow morning across southeast Texas and southwestern Louisiana. Look how dry it is across Texas, Louisiana, the southern plains, all this brown shading. That is just very dry air. And of course, the lower the number, the drier the air. So anything under about 1.4 this time of the year is pretty dry. And it is really, really dry across the region, that air mass as well as our ground. Now let's put it into motion and see what happens over the next several days. Is not much. By late Sunday, a little bit better moisture, but you got to remember, you got to have a trigger. You got to have something to lift this moisture into clouds and rain. We just don't have that. There's no fronts on the way anytime soon. There's no upper level disturbances on the way. So that's not going to help us. Now, as we head into next week, Tuesday, now that's pretty good moisture there for this time of the year. That's not too bad, but once again, we don't have anything to lift it into widespread rains that we need. There could be a couple of showers around next Tuesday and Wednesday. We're talking 10 to 20% coverage though. And as you can see, just not a good situation. See, there's the high I was talking about. It builds right overhead over the course of the next several days and eventually back out into the Gulf. See the ridge axis out in the Gulf extending into about St. Louis next Tuesday. So that pumps up the ridge, another low developing over the southwest. As that deepens, that just pumps up the ridge over the central and southern plains even more. So just don't see much of a chance of rain. You can see a little bit of moisture there, but remember, we've got to have something to lift it. We'll see what happens with this. This is going to be our only hope for rain toward the Thursday time frame of next week. We'll have to see where this goes. If it tracks too far north, won't see nothing. Won't see much. Decides to track a little farther south, then would have a much better chance of rain and thunderstorms. And you can see rainfall totals, just not there. We just don't see much, unfortunately. Futurecast overnight, some patchy fog, lows dropping into the 50s tonight, mid to upper 50s. And as we head in through tomorrow morning, we warm up quickly, should reach 80 for a high tomorrow, pretty close to 80 in the lakes as well. And by tomorrow evening, we'll be in the upper 60s with southeasterly winds. Marine forecast will have south winds 10 to 15 knots, that water temperature